Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. I already covered the 3 anniversaries I have for today, so I'm going to link to those below. We are going to pick up where we left off with the Life Dynamics podcast with Troy Newman, What Happens When Abortions Go Wrong.
Can't see straight, get an abortion. Your feet are swelling, get an abortion. Oh, you're overweight, get an abortion.
Oh, but she's bleeding. Oh, that can't be from the abortion.
No. You're right. They're the same people that sell abortion as health care. That it's healthier than taking vitamins every morning. Drinking your water is having abortion. It's the healthiest thing you can do for the planet. Reduce your carbon footprint, kill that baby. But as soon as they cause a complication, I mentioned this Hope Clinic, 3 women with hemorrhages were recorded just in December of 2023.
Well, at least unlike Barbara Lee Davis, it seems those 3 women survived. So I'll link to Barbara Lee Davis below. We talked about her at our last video.
Again, this is just from the outside looking in. These aren't the women who go home and have complications. These are the ones with emergency complications where they've got to call 911. How do we know? Because we get the 911 calls and we publish them.
But not always. Sometimes they fight you, right? Or drag your feet.
Oh, gosh. Oh, see, Illinois and St. Louis are classic examples. LA's another one. New York's another one. I think what's going on, I can't
Abortion
prove
havens.
it. They're abortion havens, but and Mark talked quite a bit about this, is the first thing that they do when they open up an abortion clinic, because these guys go to the local authorities. And they may go to the police, the city council, whatever. In this case, they probably go to the emergency services, which is usually run by the fire department, generally speaking. And they say, hey, when these guys, these anti-choice fanatics come in and ask for these 911 calls, don't give it to them, stonewall them in every way we could. And I think we recorded something like 60 of these ambulance runs from the Planned Parenthood clinic in St. Louis. And we had to sue the city to get these 911 calls. We didn't get them all.
Really?
But here's what I want you to do. Next time you get your cell phone bill, and God forbid anybody actually has a landline anymore, but get your cell phone bill, and I want you to go through it line by line, other than the tax fee. You're going to see a little thing down there, 911.
Right.
You're paying for these.
Yeah.
You're paying for the emergency services for these to be recorded. And you know, whenever there's some big mass shooting or something like that, the news media gets that 911 call in about a millisecond.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it takes us months and months and threatening letters from our legal representatives to get these 911 calls. A lot of times they're over-redacted.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It'll be like, hi, this is beep.
And then you'll hear goodbye.
And we have...
While we're on the topic of heavily redacted, we can look at the autopsy report for Cree Irwin Shepherd and how they preserved her confidentiality and dignity by redacting everything that had to do with the abortion, but leaving every last other little bit of personal information in. It's not about protecting the women. It's about protecting themselves.
Beep. Okay, we're on our way. Beep.
Yeah. And the thing is, if abortion is so safe, if abortion is no big deal, then why do they drag their feet in these places over 911 tapes? Shouldn't there be just like one call that happens, right? Because abortion is so safe?
Right. Well, see, one of our pushes has been, I always call it the Operation Rescue Law. And I dug it up out of Missouri. We were able to pass it down in Mississippi and other places. We actually passed it in Texas, HB2, years ago, and it wasn't argued right before the Supreme Court. But the 2 things I wanted is, number one, for an abortionist to have hospital privileges in the local hospital within a 30-mile radius of that abortion clinic.
That's something they always fight.
And we've talked about it. They fight it for 2 reasons. One is these are circuit riders. They're not local doctors, so they're not going to be able to get admitting privileges. And the other thing is just a philosophical thing. They are being paid to get rid of that fetus. Once it's gone, they do not feel any further obligation to the woman. They'll let her just die in the recovery room. They really do lose interest once the fetus is gone.
Always fight because abortionists are not wanted in the general medical community. That's why abortion is rarely practiced in normal hospital-like settings.
Right. And if you want to get the best reactions about abortionists, ask somebody in the medical community who works in the emergency rooms.
Right.
Exactly. No, 100%. And we go off on another tangent on the abortion pill because they're just given these pills and say, hey, this is like taking a Pez candy and you'll be all fine next week. No, guess what? A lot of times they're hemorrhaging, and the complication is through the roof. And Supreme Court.
And I wish I had, well, now that Mark Crutcher is dead, I might be able to get Life Dynamics to part with it. Suzanne Popema, I believe it was, a female abortionist and abortion rights advocate who was doing what are the clinical trials of RU486 before it was widespread available. And she talked about how they had to get their front desk staff used to women coming in with blood running down their legs and filling up their shoes and pooling around their feet when they were coming in for their checkups after their RU486 abortions. I think it's very rare for women to have periods where the blood's just running down their legs, filling up their shoes and pooling around their feet, but it was happening often enough in these RU486 trials that, like I said, I'm pretty sure it was Suzanne Popema, they had to warn the front desk staff to not show any signs of alarm when women were coming in like that.
Could be hearing that later this year. But these emergency room doctors, oftentimes very, very pro-life, they're stuck with the complications of not only a surgical abortion, but the medical abortions as well.
I'm going to pause here because my washing machine's on spin. I'll be right back with you. Okay, I'm back, and let's go back to listening.
Even if you're pro-choice, say you're pro-choice, and you're sitting there, and these women come in night after night, day after day from these horrific abortion complications, you have to imagine that that makes an impact on you. Unless you're just so callous that you have no soul, you know, that's going to have to leave an impact on you and make you think, well, maybe I need to reconsider my position on all this.
Okay, so I'm going to pause at that point because we're already at 6 minutes, and like I've said before, I like to keep my videos short, plus I need to end because my washing machine's spinning. But we'll pick up some more later.